In this video, we're going to have a practice activity based around a self-join. Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. So we have got code here which creates a table called tblEmployee. This table has an employee ID number, an employee name, a salary, and a manager ID. So for example, employee ID 1 is the manager of employee IDs 2 to 6. And then employee ID 2 is the manager of employee IDs 7 to 11. What I want to do is create a self-join which looks at this table and retrieves the manager information and then answers the question, which employees are getting paid higher than their manager? So for example, employee number 6 is being paid 107,000. If we have a look at all of the employees that are managed by number 6, we can see that 27 and 29 are being paid more than the manager's salary. So if you'd like to do this as a practice activity, then that is the question, which employees are being paid more than their immediate manager? You will find all of this code in the description to this video. Good luck. Right, if you're still with me, either you've tried it for yourself and want to see how your solution compares against mine, or you'd like some more information about how you can do this. Well, what we have is a self-join. So we have a table which needs to link to the table. So for example, I want employee ID 2, this row, to link to employee ID 1. Here I want this row, number 7, to link to row number 2. So let's write a select statement. So I'm going to write select star from table employee. So that will give me all of the employees. Next, I need to have this joined with table employee. Now, there needs to be some way of distinguishing these two table employees. So let's call one of them E and the other M. Now, what sort of join is this currently? This would be, is it an inner, left, outer, cross, full? It's an inner join. So it will only do this where there is a manager. So where there is something in both employee ID and manager ID. If I didn't want this, then I would have a left or a right join. Now, for the purposes of this particular question, we're asking which employees are being paid more than their immediate managers, then it doesn't really matter if we don't have this first row in the list, as Amelia Thompson is not going to be paid more than her manager as she doesn't have one. However, if you would like to see all of the information, then you should use a left or right join. Now, what are we joining on? I want something which is identical in these two rows. And we can see that it is the employer's manager ID and the manager's employee ID. So this would be E.manager ID and this would be M.employee ID. So it is these which are identical. So that's what we write in the on section. So on E.manager ID is equal to M.employee ID. So let's just run this code and see what we've got. So we now have all of the employees and details about their managers. So for instance, employee number 4 has manager number 1. Let's just scroll down to one of those employees which is being paid more than their manager. Employee number 29 is being paid 148,000, which is more than his employee, Finn Parker, who's being paid 107,000. Now, both of these salaries have got the same name, and that's not good in a query. So let's change this. So we're retrieving E.employeeID, don't need to change that. E.employeeName, don't need to change that. E.salary, let's change that so it is employee salary. Now, I don't need to retrieve the manager ID and the employee ID of the manager. Just one will do. So I'm going to retrieve m.EmployeeID and rename that as ManagerID. I'm going to retrieve m.EmployeeName and retrieve that as ManagerName. And I'm going to retrieve m.Salary and retrieve that as ManagerSalary. So I don't need either of these manager IDs. I don't need to know who the manager of the manager is, for instance. So let's run this. And so this gives me employee ID, name and salary, and manager ID, name and salary. So the only thing left to do is to compare the salaries. So what we want is all of the rows where the employee salary is greater than the manager salary. So we'll put that in the where. Now I can't say employee salary because that is an alias in the select clause, and I can't use aliases in the select clause in the where clause unless I'm using a CTE with the with statement. So instead I need to say e.salary. So where e.salary is greater than m.salary. So let's run this and see what we get. And here we have a list of just 6 employees, each of which are being paid more than their manager. Well, I hope you enjoyed this practice activity. Now, if self-joins are new to you, then I hope you'll consider looking at our course all about querying SQL Server with t-sql. So in addition to looking at self-joins, we'll also have a look at the other sort of joins, subqueries, common table expressions, and a lot more. There will be a link to it in the description to this video. In the next video, we're going to have a look at different types of joins and what the differences are between them. There will be a link to this on the end screen, so please click that if you want to find more about joins. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give it a like, and why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified of any new videos. Have you got any ideas for practice activities you'd like to see? Then why not put it down in the comments to this video. I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. Thank you very much for joining me, and keep learning.